Well, hello there. I am Kevin John, and thank you for joining me for this ABC 10 Plus special on high school football in the Sac-Joaquin section. We're going to look back at some of the biggest games in the second week of the season. But first, let's look ahead to this week's action with our ABC 10 Game of the Week featuring 12 Bridges and Whitney happening in Rockland.
High schools that are built in the same city are made to be rivals, but the Whitney Wildcats and 12 Bridges Raging Rhinos take things to another level. They are technically in two different cities, but each school can see the other from their campus.
They're right there, literally not even a mile away, so it's always going to be a rivalry if we're that close to another school.
A lot of schools around us, but I think them putting that school there a couple years ago, I feel like we kind of feel disrespected by that. They think they're going to come into our house and take what we got, so we're not going to let that happen.
I mean, I'd say there's a little bit of a rivalry since we were at their home field last year and they beat us. So it's just time for them to come to our home and see what happens then.
You know, I feel like they're going to bring their best game, and they need this game, so we're also going to bring our best game too. So.
Of course, the players get excited for a rivalry game, but don't forget about the coaches. They love a good rivalry too.
It's kind of fun to have that out-of-season, preseason game where your kids get super excited about. We respect that place so much. We respect Coach McNally, and we respect the programs that Whitney has. Yeah, I would hope it would turn into a rivalry at some point.
You know, you can throw a rock over there, they can throw a rock over here, so it's close. You know, these kids have known each other growing up, middle school, probably elementary school, so there's, you know, kind of that, I guess, banter between players. Are really excited. I know Coach Bean does a great job with those guys, and, you know, we got a lot we got to take care of on Friday. It's a really good football team.
Once again, the 12 Bridges Raging Rhinos are undefeated to start the season, but they feel they could have played a whole lot better.
We're not nowhere near close to our best football yet. And we beat a really good Christian Brothers team, 42-7. We made a comeback versus Reed after going down 14-0 really fast. Once we start clicking and this team reaches its peak, we're gonna be unstoppable.
I've played with these seniors for quite a long time, and we've kind of always found a way to, get through the struggles and end up being at the top.
Meanwhile, the Whitney Wildcats are 1-1, including an impressive road win over the West Park Panthers. They are as dedicated to improving on last season as it gets.
Our team's got much better. You know, we have a group of guys who really care and really are bought into this program, and I feel like that's the difference between this year and last year.
We don't want to lay each other down, really. It's kind of a really good brotherhood over here, so we're always just together as one group, and when that happens, we all play with our hair lit on fire. It's just we really want to win all the time. It's a very gritty team.
Oh, yeah, should be a good game out there in Whitney. ABC 10 is looking forward to being out there Friday night. Now, for all of those who happen to miss out on last week's action, including the highlights and big moments, no need to worry. We got your back. We're going to get to that right now, starting with Bradshaw Christian and Vista del Lago.
I'm Matt George here at Bradshaw Christian High School, where the Pride have not lost a game on their home field since October of 2021. Well, tonight in our ABC 10 Game of the Week, the Vista del Lago Eagles look to snap that streak. Almost exactly 1 year ago, Bradshaw Christian defeated Vista del Lago 50-48 in a game that went down to the wire. Tonight, the Eagles had revenge on the mind, and they looked like it early on. Their opening drive, quarterback Jacoby Moore hit senior captain Jackson Cromwell in the flat, and his legs do all the work. He finds space down the sideline and takes this one all the way in for 6. A great start for the Eagles, but here's the thing about the Pride. They have one of the trickiest run playbooks in the section. It's a blast to watch, but a nightmare to try and shoot. I was completely fooled on this play. When I finally found the football, Bishop Porter was long gone. Bradshaw Christian answers right back, but their trickery wasn't done there. Second quarter, someone tell me where the heck is the football on this play? Does he have it? No. Him? Nope. Oh, there it is in the hands of Mason Pisarski, who is a beast of a running back, by the way. He reaches pay dirt to give the Pride the lead. Vista del Lago's run game is nothing to scoff at either, albeit it's much easier to see who has the football. But even when you know Jackson Cromwell has it, you still got to stop him. He goes right through the chest of the Pride defense and into the end zone for the second time tonight. Second half now, and sometimes broken plays turn into gold. That was the case here for Jacoby Moore, who turns his bobbled snap into a huge run. And that set up the hat trick. For the third time tonight, Jackson Cromwell trots into the end zone. And if there was such thing as high school fantasy football, well, this young man would have won you the week. But as great as he was, the Bradshaw Christian run game was just simply better. Here's Mason Pisarski again. If you've ever heard the term power back, well, that's what this young man is. He just refuses to go down. That massive run puts the Pride back in scoring position, and senior Devin Hatcher caps off the drive with another touchdown. Bradshaw Christian's incredible home undefeated streak continues. They defeat Vista Del Lago 50-28. After the game, I caught up with Pisarski and asked him what makes his team so unstoppable at home.
I feel like our home crowd really brings a lot of energy to us, and it really allows us just to play so much better, sir. I think the sky's the limit. All of us, we just got to keep working, keep busting our tails Saturday to Thursday, and we just got to keep getting better and keep communicating every day. We got to stay positive and keep lifting each other up.
All right, thank you, Matt. Congratulations to Bradshaw Christian. Well, we're going to keep this party going with the hottest ticket in the 209. The annual Holy Bowl took center stage in Stockton, and this game is always sure to entertain. Let's head to my hometown of Stockton, and it's the Holy Bowl when they're saying a prayer beforehand. The St. Mary's Rams hosting the Central Catholic Raiders of Modesto. The Rams put up a 50-piece last Friday night, while Central Catholic's still seeking their first dub of the season. We'll pick this one up in the first quarter. Central Catholic strikes blood first. Isaiah Fagata runs this up the gut for the touchdown. Just like that, it's 7-0 Central Catholic. But back come the Rams later in the quarter. Watch this pass by Jaden Galvin off his back foot, and Jerry Cross runs under it, gets 1 foot down before going out of bounds. Oh-wee! Now later on the drive, St. Mary's in the red zone. Jeremiah Brown, get on down. Hit me. Jeremiah runs us there for the touchdown. The Rams are on the board. Central Catholic, though, they would show some fight, but St. Mary's was too much on the night. Ooh, that rhymed. The Rams put up a 50-piece for the second straight week, dismantling the Raiders 52-28. St. Mary's moves to a perfect 2-0 on the season. Now, staying in the 209, next we're heading to Lincoln High School, where the Trojans are hosting the Oakdale Mustangs. We'll pick this one up in the second quarter. Lincoln in the red zone. Just Shannon Martin Jr. takes the pitch. He gets in for the touchdown. That gave the Trojan fans something to cheer about. But back comes Oakdale. Richard Flores claps back with a touchdown of his own. This game was all Oakdale. They go on to defeat the Trojans 70-30. Well, anytime I set foot on the campus of 12 Bridges in Lincoln, it's always a good time. From the vibes to the school spirit to the band. Oh yeah, by the way, they also have a darn good football team. We're heading to Lincoln, home of the internationally known Raging Rhinos. Their student section, always lit. Not to mention, the band is always worth the price of admission. Chris Bean and 12 Bridges hosting the Reed Raiders out of Sparks, Nevada. And if you love offense, you're gonna love this game. Reed would strike first as Broen Rios bounces this outside and gets into the end zone for 6. Rios was a monster on the night. That gave Reed an early lead, but you can't hold a Raging Rhino down for long. Later in the first, Reed trying to do the designed QB run, but Corday Johnson says, "Not on my watch, playa." Johnson makes an incredible play in the backfield. Now later in the quarter, 12 Bridges in the red zone. Connor Frontiera calls his own number. He will not be denied as he breaks the plane, scores the touchdown. That put the Raging Rhinos on the board. Also, shout out to the junior cheerleaders right there. So adorable. All right, to the second quarter now. 12 Bridges back in the red zone. Josh Chittum gets the ball in the end around, and this dude runs smoother than a jar of Skippy. Josh gets in for the touchdown. This game was a back-and-forth heavyweight fight, but in the end, 12 Bridges, they defeat Reed 45-31. The Raging Rhinos are a perfect 2-0 on this season. Next, we're heading to another school in Lincoln that always has great vibes. The Lincoln Fighting Zebras hosting the Woodland Wolves. We'll pick this one up in the second quarter. Lincoln in the red zone. Dylan Nell gets the pitch. I'm just going to call him Dylan Dynamite. Yeah, Dynamite nearly takes this in for the touchdown. He stopped inches short. Lincoln would turn the ball over on downs, but it didn't matter because a few minutes later, Lincoln would find themselves back in the red zone, and this time they would capitalize. Brock Gaylor takes this one up the gut. Watch him dive through like Superman. Lincoln up 21-6 at this point, and they would add to it. Now, I'm going to apologize in advance for this play. Eli Duff makes an absolute beautiful pass to Julian Defoe for the touchdown, but number 8 accidentally got in front of my shot there, so you don't see the amazing catch. It's all good. I forgive you, Aiden. This game was all Lincoln. They go on to pound Woodland 48-12. Lincoln is now 2-0 on the season. Well, we're going to keep this show going. I'm not tired yet. Next, we're heading to West Park, where the Panthers are anxious for their first win of the season. But then again, no win is ever easy when you're going against them Vacaville Bulldogs. Let's head on over to Roseville. West Park, always a vibe. The Bulldogs making the 60-mile trip from Vacaville to be there. Both teams looking for their first win of the season. We're going to pick this one up in the first. Vacaville in the red zone. Breeden Jackson is going to find his man Braden Wright for the score right there near the corner of the end zone. Bulldogs take an early 6-0 lead, but back come the Panthers. Declan Schindelbauer gets in for the tutty. West Park would take a 7-6 lead. But how about that Panther defense? I'm glad you asked. Gavin McDonald, will you please stand up? Oh, no reason for him to stand when he can dive and get interceptions. Ooh, that was nice. Now later on, you know, no West Park highlights are complete without Jaden Jackson throwing a tutty. There he hits Jax Madden for the touchdown. This game, all West Park, they go on to win 22-6. Now staying in Roseville, and a rivalry over a century owed, the Oakmont Vikings hosting the Roseville Tigers, who got off to a strong start. Now Ko Takahashi breaks a few tackles, runs this in for the touchdown, giving the Tigers an early 14-0 lead. Oakmont needed a little momentum to shift to try and get back in the game, and they got one after Roseville fumbled this punt return, but still the Tigers were able to maintain control. They improved to 2-0 to start the season with a 34-14 victory. Next, we're heading to Elk Grove, where the Thundering Herd are hungry for their first win of the season, especially after being shut out last week, but standing in their way, the Downey Knights of Modesto. We're kicking off the highlights with Downey quarterback Julian Masanai throwing a dart to receiver Isaiah Castillo for the 41-yard touchdown. But see, the Thundering Herd come right back with Hudson Hall. Yeah, you'll see him in a second. He's going to hand off to the big man, Alfonso Moore Jr., who fights in for the touchdown right after the end of the first half. Yeah, Alfonso drinks milk. This game went down to the wire with Downey scoring the game-winning touchdown with a minute to go. They defeat Elk Grove 43-42. Finally, we're heading to Sheldon, where the Pleasant Grove Eagles are hosting the Lodi Flames. Pleasant Grove riding high after shutting out River City last week, while the Flames still looking for their first win of the season. Now check out this play by Lodi quarterback Jacob Bent. He escapes the pressure, then throws an absolute dot to Drew Tetz to give the Flames an early lead, but Pleasant Grove's run game was straight nasty. Hope you brought your Lysol wipes, because this was filthy. Helkili Hernandez breaks loose for a 44-yard touchdown to get the Eagles on the board. Pleasant Grove even reached into their bag of tricks a time or two on the night, leading to a statement 43-22 victory, meaning they start the season at 2-0. Well, what a great week of games, and believe me, some of those student sections were, as the kids would say, lit. Now, one game we didn't have a chance to get to was Folsom's game against Sarah. That was in San Mateo in the Bay Area. The Bulldogs ended up winning that game 56-42, improving their record to 2-0 on the season. Now, next, they'll head to Southern California to take on Mission Viejo. Now, the Lincoln Trojans from Stockton are one of many teams looking to bounce back from a loss this upcoming week. The Trojans join Matt George and I for a sit-down interview. Well, as you guys can see, we are joined by some special guests here in the studio. We are delighted to be joined by the Lincoln High School football team out of Stockton, and representing the Trojans. Let me go ahead and introduce these studs to you. We're going to start off right here at the end. We have quarterback Julian Perez. What's up, Julian?
What's up?
All right. And right next to Julian, the guy who has the cool frames on his eyes, that's senior DB Donald Sellers. What's up, Donald?
Nice to meet you.
All right, great to meet you as well. All right, now we're going to go over to this side. We have junior receiver David Gray. What's up?
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Love to hear that, brother. And right next to him, the head coach, the first-year head coach of this operation, the man with the master plan, Mr. Lateef Grimm.
How you doing today?
We're doing great. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this Sunday. We appreciate it. Now, you know, your first season, your inaugural season with Lincoln, your very first game, you guys go out there and put up 70 points on McNair. How does that happen that quickly with an offense that potent and electric in your very first game of the season? Can you just explain the whooping that you guys put on there in week one?
I think it really started in the spring and with the installs. Kids came in and really tried to take ownership of the offense and started with the quarterback. And I think the biggest thing for us was just making sure that they understood the ball's going to get spread around and everybody's going to have opportunity. And I think you've seen that in the first game, that everybody got a chance to touch the ball. We had 5 receivers score a touchdown. And, you know, the results showed, and I think it just kind of carried over.
I love that. Now, Julian, you were responsible for spreading the love. 5 receivers scored. You made sure everyone ate in that game.
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, to be this, you know, to have the keys to this really explosive offense and to get everybody involved, what was your mentality going into the game, and how proud were you to execute that plan?
I feel like my job as a QB is just give it to whoever's open. My easiest read. Our biggest thing is can't go broke making a profit. That's our biggest mojo. So easiest read, get them the ball, and let my receivers be special.
See, I was lucky. I didn't have to wait till week 1 to see these guys in action. I got to get a little sneak peek of the new Lincoln Trojan football when you guys were up in El Dorado Hills taking on Oak Ridge. And I saw the tune-up of this offense and how explosive it is, how fun it is, how fire it is. One of the best parts of our job is we could just chill on the sidelines with these guys. The energy of your guys' sideline is a really big deal. Tell me about that, how much energy you guys have in practice, during games, and how that helps impact winning.
I just feel like in practice we just like compete with each other. So like in games, we're just a brotherhood, because all the competing we can finally just put it into one, just put it in the game, not just have to go against each other every single time.
When you get to an actual game on Friday, not that games and your opponents are easy, but with how hard you practice, is practice almost harder than game day Fridays?
Occasionally, yeah, because we're going at each other's necks. Like, you feel me? We wouldn't think we were teammates sometimes. We out there, you can hear everybody, you feel me? Emotions get high sometimes, and that's just something that we pride ourselves on, you feel me? Competing with each other, and, you know, just really, yeah.
Julian, I wanted to ask you, just with how much this coaching staff trusts you to be on the field, to be the spear of this offense that's so important, how seriously do you take that responsibility?
I take that responsibility very serious. I feel like this team could be very special, and without a leader, they're not going to be nothing. So I got to step up and be that leader for them and really just lead this team to victories, and you know, lead them in the right direction from all the clown stuff and keep them football.
Now, Coach Grimm, I want to go back to you real quick, because you have such an illustrious past. Okay. You had played collegiately at the highest level. You went on to the NFL, were with the Detroit Lions organization. And before all of that, you went to the greatest high school in the history of our country, Bear Creek High School in Stockton.
Relax.
Which happens to be my alma mater. So, you know, you have just an incredible resume all the way around from high school through professional. How has that journey been for you, and just how exciting is this opportunity for you?
This is awesome. For me, I'm at Lincoln High School, which is, to me, one of the biggest brands in high school football, right? The Ohio State, Michigans, like, they kind of put it on that level of how you do it, what you're talking about, just playing in that arena, the stadium that we play in. So for me, I'm trying to get them to understand that these moments happen fast, and they're going to go by faster than you can ever think about. So I want them to learn to play in the moment and be in the moment and try to live in that moment as long as they can. But more importantly, what you're going to take out of this is who you can get a great opportunity to find out who you are as a person in these battles, in these tough times. You know, everybody's dope in the good times, right? But you really find out your character in the bad times. You know, like I told them, I've learned more in the last 48 hours about who they are than I did the whole spring, waking up in the 6 a.m.s, doing these summer workouts. I learned who a lot of these dudes are. Now, when things are sweet, it's easy, right? But when things aren't the best, that's when you start to really find out who's true character, right? And I'm trying to get them to understand, don't be judged off of your past, be judged off of what your next move is, and that's what I'm really focusing on for us.
To learn not just from a coach, because a coach is so influential at this point in your guys' life, but from a former pro, someone who's walked the walk, can also talk the talk. Like, what are some lessons that you guys have learned from him and your coaching staff so far in just this short year so far?
You know, he treats everybody the exact same. That's what I really like about my coach. And it's never, you know, individualism. Everybody is one, you know. So that's just really what I like about what he kind of instilled within us. You know, going through that home winter with everybody, morning workouts. You know, we starting to come together as one.
That's awesome. Are there any objectives or goals that this team has that you guys would like to accomplish this season, or things that you want to set out to do?
I think our main goal as a team is to win state. We break it on it every day. We say 1, 2, 3 state, 4, 5, 6 family. So if it's a little loss early in the season, that doesn't really define us because we know we're ready to get back to work. So that's one of our main goals that we have to do. All right. Do.
Claim it. There you go. Well, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. It is the state-bound Lincoln High School football team joining us here in the studio. It should definitely be another great week of high school football here in the Sac-Joaquin section. And be sure to watch us every Friday night at 11 for highlights from all the big games. Of course, we'll also have highlights on ABC10 Plus, our free 24/7 streaming app, where you can keep up to date with sports, news, and weather. I am Kevin John. We'll see you next time.